Do you ever get the sense that the systems that we've built just kind of get in the way of the business of being present? For instance, I'm making plans for tomorrow. I'm going to go here, do this. And then once I've done that, then there'll be another thing that I need to do in order to, meet Y deadline or whatever. And then through that, you're sort of constantly in a state of audition for the future that never arrives. Um, because I definitely do. And I think it comes back to that topic that I've spoke about quite a lot recently. I've been thinking about it quite a lot recently in terms of the idea of all we really have is now. We're already whole. You're already everything that you need to be. You don't need the promotion, the status, a certain number of social media followers, a certain amount of fame or respect of other people. You're just you. And it's fine to just be you and live in the present moment and to notice the present moment instead of living in the future, because the thing is the future never arrives. And it sort of comes to that saying of, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. um, and I think modern life is very much geared towards that in terms of like work and commitments to systems that ultimately are made up. We made it this way. We have enough natural resources in the world to sustain life easily. The problem is that we just at a certain point decided to put up fences and extract debt from other people because of the notion of mine. That's mine. I own that. And because I own that, you don't own that. And therefore, I get like a little bit of clout or status, or I'm now superior to you because you don't have what I have. It's mine. And if you want to get that thing that's mine, you need to pay me. Um, and you know, we just came up with that, and everyone went, "Yeah, I guess that's how that seems to work." Um, and so the problem with that is that it stands against something that is fundamentally true in terms of the idea of separation of the individual, um, because from my perspective and the way I view consciousness and life and all of that is I'm very much on the side of I don't believe in separation. I think we're all part of the same fabric of life. We're all woven into it. And I think empathy has a strong foundation in recognizing that other people or other entities, they're part of that same fabric. They are you. They are an extension of yourself. And the idea of separation from those people is an illusion. It's the universe's way of, sticking its head. If you imagine awareness and consciousness as like a level, kind of like a flat line almost. And the problem with a flat line, a continuous field, is that it can't really look at itself it can't perceive itself without creating a little wave that comes up, that it can then look at itself. And that's kind of how I think of life. I don't see myself as separate from other people or other beings or other entities, animals, plants. It's just different levels of awareness. And it's temporary. So this idea of, that's mine, is kind of based on a complete rejection of that idea, or unwillingness to accept mortality, unwillingness to accept that we're here for a short time. We live and we die. The idea of ownership of things, it just doesn't work with that. Like, because you're going to die, and that thing that you own that is yours, you no longer own. It's temporary. And coming back to, the idea that we fenced the land, and we said, this is my land. The resources that are on this land are mine. And if you want access to them, you need to pay tribute to me. And, from there, the idea of work to extract payment in order to secure the means of survival. There's enough resources in the world to sustain us easily. But because of overconsumption in wealthy countries, the current consumption is not sustainable. So there's that. And then there's also not forgetting all of that. We still have to work within the way things are. And I'm not saying, go off and, I'm not saying go off and live off grid, or, go completely caveman or anything like that and reject society. But I'm more talking about coming back to the business of being aware and being present, because that's all we have. All we have is the present moment, and not living in the future that never really arrives, because the goalposts are always moving, and there's always like a new thing to chase, and there's a new target that needs to be hit. And think, I just need to get these things done, and then everything will be fine, and then I can live my life. When in reality, another thing crops up, and then there's another thing that you need to work on, and that's fine. Things come and go, whether it's personal stuff to do with things that you want to do, or work stuff, or whatever. Just don't forget to experience the now, because now is all we ever really have. And so, yeah, I've been thinking about that quite a lot lately. The business of just being here now. And it's that simple. We just made it really complicated by inventing all these systems, money, debt, ownership of things, the idea of waiting for our life to arrive so that we can live it rather than living it now. We made all that up, and I get the train into work, and everyone on that train is typically not there. They're not in that moment. They're not living their life. They're not present. A lot of people are doom scrolling on social media. Some people have got their heads buried in their laptops because they're working on something that they need to get done for a deadline or whatever it might be. But they're not really there, most of them. And they're kind of somewhere else, heading towards something that never really arrives. But when we remember that, or when we realize that, we're here to experience the now, we are the universe sticking its head up above the parapet to look at itself and go, this is what it's like. And I think when we recognize that, for me anyway, when I recognize that, it brings me quite a lot of enjoyment, because it gives you the opportunity and the time, or the sort of mindfulness to appreciate that and say, yeah, like I'm looking around now and being like, yeah, I'm here. This is happening. It's now. It's happening now. It's not in the future. It's not, something that's going to eventually arrive and then I can live my life. I'm living it now. I'm experiencing it now, and whatever it will be is what it will be, and it ultimately doesn't matter. It is what it is, and everything else that we've invented in terms of what success looks like, it's kind of made up. So stop and enjoy the moment is what I would say. All right. Peace out.